Story 5, Meeting EWA. It's been a while since I've last been in the asylum, so I went back to the asylum to either rescue another person or to destroy the place. But when I was at the 4th floor, I then noticed that there was once again a silhouette of a person behind one of the windows. But it looked quite scary with the blood on the window. I went into the room, and there was another bomb-headed entity. This time, it had colors on the left and right side. The right side was purple, and the left side was blue, wearing a black hoodie on. I already started to feel bad for him, because I noticed he had one of those asylum jackets on, and what also looked like a bloodied blindfold wrapped around his head. I started to hear him whispering and mumbling to himself, "Someone, please help me. I can't remember how long I've been here. I don't want to die." I silently stepped towards him, but he heard me. He then turned around, and I saw that someone had heat pressed a satanic symbol on his head. When I saw the symbol, I thought to myself, who would do such a thing? I didn't move a single muscle. I wanted to help the poor soul, but at the same time, I was intimidated due to the blindness. He was turning his head side to side, snarling in confusion. I asked, "Who did this to you?" He turned towards me and charged full force towards me. I quickly dodged him. I was trying my very best to get the blindfold off. I knew it was risky, but he then yelled out, "Hey, over here!" in a way that sounded like a gentle guidance person. He heard me and screamed, "Get out of my head!" After hearing him say that, I then started to realize that he was having horrible hallucinations, but he didn't stop from there. He came charging at me again. This time, I immediately ran for it. I heard him running at me, screaming in rage. I then ran into a room and tightly shut the door. It was dimly lit. It had a couple of boxes, but the thing that had me getting hope was the piano in the very center of the room. I still heard the bomb's snarls, so I quietly sat down in front of the piano and played one of the most comforting songs that came into my head. And that song was "Fallen Down" by Toby Fox. As the song went on, I heard his aggressive snarls slowly turn into soft breathing. After I played the final notes, I then got up, went outside, and went out of the room, and noticed that he was on the ground, sleeping. I carefully took the blindfold off, as well as taking the asylum jacket off. But then I noticed that the right side of his body was polygonized. I started to wonder if he was some sort of robot. I touched around him and his body to feel if there were any metal, and it turns out that he isn't a robot. I started to have so many questions. Where is he from? What happened to him? What is his name? He started to wake up, slightly shaking his head, slightly shaking and moving his head, twitching his eyes, groaning, trying to get in consciousness. He then opened his eyes and noticed that I was in front of him. He wasn't sure what to think about it, but he asked, "How long have I been here?" I answered, I don't know." He sighed, but then he noticed that the straps were no longer on him. He then looked at me He then looked back at me. Freeing you wasn't easy, but it was the best thing to do. I said as I was writing down on the third book, that page of the second book that you might have read. I asked him, "Who are you?" He answered, "I am called EWA. What's your name?" I replied, "I'm Zoe Costello." In a split second, his head started to hurt a bit. I used my magic to clear out the symbol on his head. After the symbol was gone, I helped him up from the ground, as he gripped my arm close to him. We then left the building, and I waited for another day to come back. The end.